Well, hello. Let's talk about women and the ideas of success that we were brought up under and with. So, you used to think the word success, career, job, all that, at least for me, would invoke like a guy on the train in his suit with his briefcase, right? Because in a way, that was my father's version of success. He climbed the ladder in the academic realm and became the deputy superintendent of schools in Boston, Massachusetts back in the day, and then had his own school system for many years in Brookline, Massachusetts, which is very progressive, very wealthy, very Jewish, and very, you know, persnickety in particular, because he would come home, the 6'4" Irish blonde guy. And he did win them all over, and they were all big fans of his, But when he first got in there, he had a mess to deal with. He had debt from the former person and rickety old buildings to go and deal with the architect and get new plans made and all the things. See, I say he was like a mayor of a small town. He dealt with not the Brooklyn small, but you get the drill. He dealt with a lot of moving parts in his job, and he was good at it, and people loved him. Meanwhile, he'd come home and kind of be a zombie for us, and we didn't have the best of him. We got the rest of him, in my opinion. But he did try to do fun things and make up for it on weekends and vacations and stuff. So I determined early I was never going to be with a workaholic or an alcoholic, and I was never going to be with someone who would just kind of dole out fun times in between his real work. It felt like work was his real life, and we were the driver for that, in his mind. I do it all for my family. I think that's how he justified being so away from his family so much. But anyway, this was his generation, his gender, his conditioning. I've forgiven him for that. And I see that an absentee father and landlord is how we look at God, too. So it makes sense in some ways. I love these younger generations of hands-on dads who are, really present for their kids. And I'm so grateful every day that I never procreated with someone famous, because in that realm, your children are meat, literally and figuratively and sexually. And I would never have wanted to raise a child or birth a child or be in any kind of co-parenting partnership with someone who cannot be vocal about the Epstein files. Let's put it that way. If you're silent about the Epstein files, you're sus to me. And I don't trust you, and I would never trust you around children, or women for that matter, because what do you mean? What do you mean you're a man and you're not standing up to this regime? What do you mean? How is it the female comedians, quote unquote female comedians, who are standing up to the Oompa Loompa? How is it not every person with a microphone and a platform? What do you mean? How are you not doing that? How are you silent and hiding? Is it because, I know, because you have blackmail on you too about children, so you would feel like a big hypocrite. So instead, you're going to go glorify other pedophiles and make movies about them, and then try to distract with dumb shit like songs and soap operas, instead of actually standing up like a man and pushing back on fucking pedophiles. Wow, just like that's the biggest disappointment I have in men lately, is that there's really none of them being pit bulls or bulldogs against pedophilia. There's none of them. None of them being outraged and vocal on a consistent basis, rising to the top as true leaders who say, absolutely, this is not okay in any society. And if I had shades of that in me and say I was 32 going after an 18-year-old, or 30 going after a 16-year-old, or 40 going after a 15-year-old, and then justify that with that's just how things were back then, instead of that you exploited your power, you exploited innocent and vulnerable people. And so that's why you won't call out others who exploit innocent and vulnerable people, because you see that as predator and top dog and alpha. And you bow to that, and you lick boots, and you bend the knee, and you kiss ass, and other things probably. So I love that there are younger, softer men who cry, who want to raise their kids right, who, don't want to work for the man. I love that. And if you're not standing up to pedophilia, you're still a boy to me. You always will be. And you have a voice, you have a microphone. People listen to men more than they listen to women. What are you doing? What are you fucking doing about it, right? You're hiding and you're lying because you have those tendencies yourself. There's no other logic to it. Or you're afraid. You're afraid to be called out for calling out the predators as a hypocrite because, again, you've done similar things or you have blackmail on you. But I just want to say, using headlines to communicate and threaten and intimidate and bully is abuse. Let's state that. There is no other word for that other than abuse of power, about abuse of platform, and abuse of privilege. So why not use those things to be vocal for the vulnerable and not just the pet causes you like, oh, veterans with CPTSD, that's safe. No, women and children, front and center. Like, get on with it, Like, where are the men? They used to go to war over less than this shit. And now we have these files which show that there are pedophiles in charge of things. And the men, it's like crickets. Maybe y'all need to take off your baseball hats because they're squeezing your brains, okay? And they're making you bald faster, so that's not a good look. When you're over 50, in a baseball hat, over 30 in a baseball hat to me, especially when it's backwards, you look like an idiot frat boy. You look like someone who will never grow up, and you look like you're trying to hide your baldness. It's not good. Anyway, I digress. I'm thinking of the MAGA hats, and I'm thinking of, you don't play baseball. You're fake. You don't play baseball. And yes, I know, I wear yoga pants, and I do very little yoga. So I get it. It's a look. It's an aesthetic. It's very common. To the point where people can be like, what is she talking about? Baseball hats and pedophilia? What's the connection? I don't get it. I think if you look at the MAGA hat and you look at the people wearing that, you guys are all so vocal, right? About save the children, protect the children, save the children, except when you find out one of your heroes was hurting them. Then suddenly it's, let's focus on other things. Let's focus on soap opera garbage and celebrity garbage and filth and slime that is designed to distract you from actually unifying and taking action against fucking pedophiles and cannibals, right? So I'm not a man hater. I'm a very, very proponent of men being good and not being rapists and not being cowards and not being bullies and not being abusive and not sticking together in some bro-ho code because the bros are the biggest hoes. No, that's just the facts. So yeah, a female success or woman's success has nothing to do with you. And if it makes us less desirable that we had ambitions or we learned languages or we traveled or we wrote books, and jumped out of a plane, walked on hot coals because you are not adventurous or brave enough to do any of those masculine quote unquote things, deal with yourself. Deal with the fact that you have jealousy of the women that you want to fuck because you want to fuck them so you can dominate them and then you want to kill them and get away with it. Not all men, right? Not all men are murderers. Not all men are rapists. Not all men are pedophiles, except that when you're quiet about those things, what are you? Except a coward. And an enabler of a system that needs to fucking die. Did see some Scandinavian woman saying, oh, I have the cure for the loneliness epidemic, eh? Stop killing your girlfriends. Yeah, stop. Just stop. It's a shittiness and stupidity epidemic. It's a look over here, not over there epidemic. It's a coward staying silent, but trying to be as confusing and weird as possible instead of stepping up and being solid and having a spine and cojones. It's just never mind, right? Like, why? Who am I talking to? The women who get it, the other men who do get it, people who are going to be enraged that I actually have an opinion and a mouth because I'm a woman. Do I detect shades of feminism? Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Anyway, getting on with the show. It's all very fake and very ugly and very mean and very stupid right now. So find beauty. Find good people doing real things and have a great time in life that doesn't have anything to do with any of this crap. But there are no men. There are no men alive today. Because if there were, there'd be a lot more storming the castle and, uh, you know, dealing with it, taking them in back alleys and kicking the shit out of them like they used to. Bring some of that back. You want to be nostalgic? Bring some of that back. Okay. Much love. Be a man or don't, right? Be a pussy. Be a coward. I'm handing you a white feather because you are quiet. If you're quiet on things that matter and you don't have any kind of social justice sense and you just bite your tongue in hard conversations instead of stand up for truth, I have no use for you.